do, 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 boom, boom, boom.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Unremarkable Podcast, where we are God's chosen informants to take a little bit of our story, a little bit of your story, so that we can better understand God's story. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Jodi.
And we are glad to welcome you back. It's been a little while.
Yes, it has, but we're thankful that you're tuning in, so we are grateful that you are welcoming us back into your car or headset or wherever you
go. Yeah, that's right. When you should be doing other things, probably that are much more productive. You're hanging out with us.
Hey, we want to do it with you, though, so thank you for inviting us along. Why have we been gone for so long, Jer?
Well, we've had some stuff going on, and nothing bad. It's just, we're trying to pay bills. We're trying to make sure that we keep food on the table and in the fridge and all of that stuff. So, no, we've been going, and we've had a lot of opportunity. Over the last year, I was counting up, it's been dozens and dozens of opportunities that I've had to speak all over the Southeast, which has just been excellent. We've been able to share my story and been able to preach some, which has been good for my soul. I absolutely love getting to teach God's Word. And then I've been teaching Bible at a local Christian school here, Tabernacle Christian School. Shout out to the torches. Shout out to my ninth graders. I know there's a couple of them that listen to the podcast. Well, They've been after me.
Hey guys, we're back.
They've been after me because we haven't recorded anything. And really, I think the only reason they're listening is they keep asking if we can listen to our podcast during class.
Do you know what you need to do?
What's that?
You need to embed an answer to like a bonus question.
You see, that would drive listenership to our podcast, but I don't know that.
But it's got to be like quirky and hidden.
Okay, you can give me an example.
So like we're going to talk about 2025 people who have passed away, and you could say, who was the star of Dennis the Menace?
I don't know who the star of Dennis
I did not know that.
So you showed me your list of people that, first of all, I love the energy that you're bringing to dead people. But it's a little bit of a morbid conversation, isn't it?
Oh, it's important to understand that these people have passed on, but while they were on Earth, their story mattered.
Their story did matter,
and it still matters, just like ours, just like yours, listener.
You've gone into like elementary teacher school.
I'm Elmo.
Yeah, that's right.
He is still alive.
Elmo is... like the guy that does his voice, or just the red monster?
There could be children listening. Elmo is alive.
My ninth graders probably believe that he's real. So anyway.
So what was the intention of us even starting this, if we can go back to that?
So, years ago when we first started, in fact, you can go back to the Unremarkable podcast from years ago. We wanted to share the story of what it was like to be a pastor's family.
Yeah.
And we just felt like that was a story that wasn't told by a lot of people.
No.
In fact, in a lot of the circles that you and I grew up in, the pastor was this kind of like untouchable, revered kind of person. He was not even like a real human. He lived a life that was kind of separate from everybody else's. No one, like if you saw the pastor out at like the drugstore, it was weird.
Well, it's a deviation of the high church mentality of they are untouchable, or they are held to a different standard. Mm-hmm. And so that just kind of bled over into other denominations. And I think the humanity of who these people really are was overshadowed by a title.
Well, and when I got into the ministry, I really struggled with this idea that we live in life in a fishbowl. Mm-hmm. Everybody sees us. There's a lot more people that see us than we see them.
Correct.
And I knew my heart. I knew my struggles. Right. I knew the fact that there were a lot of times that you and I wanted to murder each other. I get that. And it was a struggle for me because it made me kind of wonder, do other pastors feel that way? Do other people in the ministry feel that way? And the answer is yeah.
Absolutely.
And as I started talking to other pastors, I started hearing people say, man, I feel lonely. Yeah. I feel left out. I feel the conversation end when I walk into the room, right. And then when I was in seminary, I really had this moment where I was sitting in, maybe a pastoral ministry leadership class or something. And the teacher, as well-intentioned as he was, made the comment that, hey, your congregants don't want to know that you struggle. They don't want to know the reality. There needs to be this separation almost between you and them. You can't have friends.
So, that does explain why it is that way, because you were having an aged scholar that had been telling people that for years. So producing many pastors out into the fields to act in that way.
Yeah. And again, the intention behind it, I think, was very good. It was the idea that, hey, your congregation needs you to be able to speak truth into them, and that's true. They need you to be a rock and someone that's solid, and there's some truth in that. But I'd struggled because I'd been in other classes where we talked about how every member of the church needs every other member of the church, that we're there to carry one another's burdens, Galatians 6:2, and in doing so, fulfill the law of Christ. And I was like, hey, if I'm a member of the church,
correct,
I need that as well.
And you want that for your family.
Yeah. And so when we started the podcast, the goal was just to pull back the curtain a little bit and go, hey, let's share who we are, scratches and warts and bumps and all of the things stained that go into that. Yeah, stained carpet because our dog won't stop peeing on it, and so that was the goal originally. And then we came and we started interviewing other people in the ministry. And I thought that was really cool as well. Some of our friends we would invite to come and sit down with us, and we talked to them about their children. We talked to them about how parenting was difficult, those sorts of things.
It's just a continuation of recognizing every story matters, but also that because you are called, it doesn't make you an exception. Therefore, truly, we're all called. Yeah. And the other aspect or perspective to have is to recognize that when we Christians in general are obedient, there is going to be an evil one who is out to cause us to stumble, to cause us to deviate from being useful for the kingdom. And so it's important for us to be transparent so that you too can see those warning flags and understand how to guard your heart and to guard your family and guide your family as you're walking through this temptation-filled world.
Yeah, and we've seen the trends shift since when we first started the podcast. I don't think that's because we were raising awareness to it, but there were so many other people that were starting to talk about this. There was a period of time when we first started the podcast, 9 out of every 10 people in the ministry would retire from something other than the ministry. Pastors were dropping out of the ministry like flies, and the things like suicide rates, depression rates of pastors were such a big deal. And the stigma that surrounded seeking therapy and counseling was such a big deal. No one wanted to really step out. What would happen if I admitted that I was having mental health issues? What would happen if I admitted that I'm having financial issues or struggles in my marriage? would I lose my job?
Right.
And there was such this vacuum. And you're starting to see, I think, that the trend get better, but it needs to continue to get better. And what happened is the more I started talking about it in the pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
From the platform on Sunday morning, the more people in our congregations that we were at started responding to it and
Yes.
saying, hey, it's so awesome to have a pastor that stands up there and goes, look, I struggle with the same things you do.
Right. And I think that was just, it helps the church become exactly what it's supposed to be. So we've had generations before us with strong and faithful and stoic leaders. And then we watch people leave the church or struggle. And the truth is, the reason why there is a marching away is they can't be transparent.
Right.
They can't expose their flaws because their fear of judgment. And the church is starting to recognize that all sin is equal, and we've been told that all our lives. And so your struggle, my struggle, hey, let's confide in one another. Let's confess to one another, which is scriptural.
Sure.
And let's walk with each other in this and not hold judgment. Let's just say, oh, you stumbled. Let me pick you back up.
Yeah, that's right.
And dust you off. And you do the same for me when it happens, because we're going to keep falling. We're going to keep stumbling. We're going to keep struggling until he comes back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And like you said, it's not just a battle against our finances or against our spouse or against our kids. It's a spiritual battle against an enemy that desperately wants us to fail, especially if we're in the ministry and especially if we're believers. He wants to make us as incompetent believers as we can.
And it's important to recognize, and again, this is a die to self daily recognize. We're not telling this because, oh, we've got it figured out.
Oh, no.
It's because like we were talking about it in church yesterday, the whole concept of needing to ask God to help us see our stumbles, see our temptations, because sometimes we don't see them. For instance, I was raised in an era where temptation was kind of segmented to the one you always say, don't cuss or drink or smoke or chew or hang around with girls who do. But temptation is, like, for me, an escape or a temptation is shopping. Retail therapy is real, and it is something I struggle with. But other people's temptation could be social media. And so there's a lot of things of you having, but you have to know that's a temptation. A lot of people are already falling down that slope before they realize what is pulling them away from their walk and pulling them away from being the best version of themselves.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that. Right above my desk where we're recording is this verse that actually my therapist gave me. And it's Psalm 139, 23 through 24. It says, search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me to the way everlasting. Because your heart and your brain will justify everything. Sin becomes, like it did with Israel, etched on your heart with an iron stylus, where it becomes such a part of who you are that you don't recognize it anymore. And you're like, God, for me personally, it's God, help me recognize the pride. Help me recognize the selfishness. Help me to see those things that I place above you. Right. And man, I have to remind myself of that daily.
Yeah, no, and I'm thankful that I was raised in a home that had fear of the Lord. I'm thankful that I was able to find a spouse to walk in the fear of the Lord. But I'm also so humbly aware that not everyone has those same privileges. And I need to recognize that their weakness is not necessarily a weakness. It's an absence of knowledge. And even when they have knowledge, it's stepping into faith, finding that hope. And I feel like that's been our charge is to bring hope and understanding to those who've completely lost the idea of hope in society, in something bigger than themselves.
Yeah. I think for me, at the end of the day, the idea of just talking about it, shining light on those things that we're struggling with. One of the big moments for me in my first full-time ministry job, I found out that a role model that I had had when I was in college, one of my former pastors, had been having an extramarital affair for over a decade. Going back to when we were in church, together, and I began to think, I mean, this guy was pastoring a huge congregation,
right?
And I'm sure that at least on the onset, he knew these were not good choices. This is not a place that I want to be. But he probably didn't have anybody to go talk to. Yeah. There was nobody that was safe in his sphere, because you didn't.
Pastors don't have pastors.
Pastors don't have pastors. And unfortunately, I think so the way that the church culture has gone, and this is just my, perspective, so I'd love to hear your take on it. I think the way that the church culture has gone is, as we've gone to bigger and bigger and bigger churches, so many of our congregants now also don't have pastors that are accessible.
Right.
Not because they're bad people. They just can't be accessible to thousands of people. And so if you don't get involved in a small group with somebody that is going to be able to counsel you wisely, if you don't, make that connection with other people that are going to be able to hold you accountable, then you may even be terrified to go, you know what, my marriage is failing, and I can't, there's no one I can go talk to about it, because if I let people in on what I'm struggling with, then we're going to get put on the outside of the group. We're going to have to stay on the outside of the camp, whatever that may be. And so I just wanted to normalize. That's kind of where the podcast came from. Just normalize, whether you're a pastor or a congregant, if you're a believer in Christ, we are all in this together.
Yes.
Let's be honest about the things we're struggling with, and then let's sharpen each other to be better versions of ourselves.
Absolutely. And again, that's what the original design was. That's why God did not want us to go through this life alone. Does he want us to be completely reliant on mankind? Absolutely not. But he gives us the joy of a relationship of humans on each side of us to mirror him, not to replace him.
Yeah, no, that's right. And then we took a little bit of a turn in the podcast because I tried to die.
What are you talking about?
Well, when I contracted fungal meningitis.
Well, you're going that far back. I'm so sorry.
Well, we went back before we've already been before the fungal meningitis.
Well, I mean, you've tried to die a lot of times.
I have tried to die.
I mean,
listen, God keeps sending me back. I don't know what that's about.
So maybe you should stop and ask him what's that about.
Yeah. But when we took the detour through fungal meningitis and we dealt with all of that, we realized that now God had given us a story. And to be honest with you, the story was about wrestling through some really difficult times. Times where even after he had healed me, when I was in some really dark places, you were in some really dark places. Our girls struggled. And so we kind of talked through that and told that story and how God was able to redeem a lot of that, and is still at work rebuilding what Satan tried to tear down, during those, 3 or 4 years from 2024 through 2020 through 2024.
No, I think we had a lot of things that we had to deal with privately, even though it appeared to be public. There's still things that God and I are putting pieces back together. I think there's some healing, and it goes back to also understanding where people are in their journey of faith and where I am in my journey of faith. may never be at the same pace. We're all running a race, and if you do a lengthy race, if you're a runner, you're going to sometimes get in different spots in the particular pathway, and so it's not fair to expect people to understand your journey of where you are with God, but it is fair for them to check on you and make sure you're on the journey, and that you're still chasing and pursuing His truth and His glory. Yeah.
When I teach about sanctification, which is the process of becoming more like Christ,
fancy.
It is. What I say, in fact, that the terminology I used is super fancy and way too complicated. I need to come up with a way to simplify it. But I say it's about direction, not quantity. Mm-hmm. And so are you more like Jesus today than you were yesterday? Are you more like Jesus this week than last week, this month than last month, this year than last year? And to steal from Dave Ramsey, you cannot check in on it daily. It's one of those things where you have to say, over a period of 5 years, 10 years, and of a lifetime, am I more like Jesus now than I was when I first started? That's the direction that you're moving in. And that's the process. But just like an investment, there's going to be downturns. There's going to be times when you take a step back, and it's not something that's intentional. That's the spiritual battle we're on.
Right.
And so, there were parts of fungal meningitis and the recovery from that where, you ask questions like, are our kids going to make it? Is our marriage going to make it? Mm-hmm. Are our finances going to survive? Mm-hmm. All of those things were legit questions. What really is my faith rooted in? What is my identity rooted in?
Right.
And again, not like we figured all that out. It's just over some years we've been able to try to get some perspective, but we had to come through some really, really dark places and are still digging out of some of that.
Yeah, I think our journey on what ministry is and what God has called us to in ministry doesn't always have to look exactly like what we originally thought. I think that's a journey for everyone. Like, I originally thought I was going to be a counselor, and then I spent time in the classroom before I did counseling, and then God is continuing to navigate and redirect, because he's calling us, and he's just simply asking us to follow him. And so that's the beauty of finding peace in being in his presence and being in his steps. And in that we've seen some pretty supernatural healing in our girls. We've seen some pretty remarkable ways he showed up and showed out for us. We are just ever grateful for how he's continuing to be specific in the ways that he answers.
I got to be honest with you. You respond to those changes in career so much better than I do.
Well, you've never really changed.
Well, I'm not pastoring a church right now.
No, but I have many times.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I was going to be a counselor, and then you're like, okay, now I'm going to teach. And then you're teaching, and then you're like, okay, no, I am going to be a guidance counselor. And then it was like, okay, no, I'm going to teach. And it wasn't just teaching, like it was, you wanted to teach specifically what I'm teaching now, which is senior government.
Government.
Yeah. And you ended up, by the time you finished teaching Spanish.
Yes.
Which is a language that you don't speak. You spoke, you spoke, you taught Spanish, which is, something you didn't even take any Spanish in college.
We don't have to talk about that.
You taught math, which was your favorite, middle school math for a year. And then, you are good at English.
Thank you. I appreciate you finding some positive about
You're an amazing teacher. What I'm getting at is you could do it. You're so good at it, and you thrived at it.
Thank you.
Like you did. You just were able to sure, I'll teach Spanish. And somebody throws me, if somebody threw me a brand new government textbook tomorrow, I would be like, you're going to have to give me 6 months figure this out.
Oh, no, you are going to figure it out. It's so beautiful, the way in which you could just make the story. You have to make it applicable to them. And that's,
you can. Anyway, so like, transitioning from out of the church world into like the classroom has been like, I just know I go kicking and screaming.
Focus. It's a different age group. You're creating disciples and future leaders.
Oh no, so the thing that we say to people, like, and this is just so true. Like, I can remember telling Emma, but we've been teaching this in the church world for forever. When Emma was going to college, it was, I don't know, Dad, what I'm going to do and what I'm going to major in, and how do I know what I want to do for the rest of my life? And what I always told the people in my congregation, what I told Emma, what I've told AJ is, hey, you pursue what you know is on God's heart, and you trust Him to get you where it is that you're supposed to be. And if you choose to go, teach school, and God says, hey, I want you instead to be a recruiter for Samford University, then He'll get you where you need to be.
Instead, this is the next chapter.
The next chapter. But I'm saying He'll move you. He has this way. And the story that I love to tell about that is Paul in the Macedonian call. He goes to Troas and he's trying to go into Asia, and it says the Spirit of God won't let him go. And he tries another way to go into Asia, and the Spirit of Jesus won't let him go. The entire Trinity is involved in keeping him out of Asia. And he goes to sleep, and he has this vision of a man in Macedonia saying, come and help me. And I love the way that Luke records it in Acts. It says, so Paul wakes up and he looks at his friends. This is the Jeremy International version, the JIV. Yes. And he says, I've concluded that God wants us to go to Greece. Like, you concluded, like, you have more clarity of vision when you're asleep than you do when you're awake. It's just, but He was pursuing this. I know what God's called me to do, and that's to take the gospel to the Gentiles. I'm going to keep going, and God is going to direct me where He wants us to go. And I may not like, the thing that God directs me to do, but I'm so convinced in the sovereignty of God that I know He's got me. Now, is that always easy for me? No, it's hard. And a lot of times I go kicking and screaming. You just react so nonchalantly to it. I just like, no, this is the plan. We follow the plan.
I'm so grateful that God allows me to go on the adventure. And so that's how I just kind of be like, oh, okay, what are we doing? Okay. Now, sometimes I am a little bit more like, okay, can I get some days in advance so I know what to pack? And I know, and He says, no, leave your family and follow me. And so there are some times where I'm like,
sacrifice the ox and burn the plows.
So as we're stepping into, obviously we're making sure that we're not trying to say we've reached a place of complete healing and we're whole, and we know that the story is going to continue. We jokingly have said our entire marriage, well, it's the Powells, this is what it's going to be, and it still is that way. And so we just know that it's continuation of God giving me more chapters to write. So we're looking at the next year. We're looking forward to 2026. We have some other opportunities coming down the line for speaking and writing and recording. And we would like to invite you to come tell your story. You do not need to have a journey of a medical ailment. It may be that you've had a relationship that you want to see that God has used you to, or use this story to grow your faith. Maybe you've had an incident with a job, or maybe God has helped you see Him in a larger way through something with your children. There is always a way to give glory and honor to God. And we'd love to give you the opportunity to do that so that we can share His hope
Yeah. And I hear it all the time when I get to go speak in churches. I have people that say, man, Jeremy, let me tell you a little bit of my story. Well, but it's nothing compared to yours. And I'm like, no, everybody has a story. And we're not here to compare stories. No. We're just here to give God the glory through our story. And so, man, we just want to hear all about yours. So we've got a couple that were lined up, and we're trying to get that going. But if you're interested in telling your story, and we're certainly interested in hearing it, so shoot us an email.
We'll guide you through how to tell it. Don't worry about having to have an outline. No. We'll, obviously, if you have that, that's fantastic. Yeah. But we'll help you hit the high points and make sure that you're able to bring it back to recognizing who's the author. Yeah,
but you can email us at thejeremypowell@gmail.com. Not a Jeremy Powell, the Jeremy Powell.
The Jeremy.
And just because everything else was taken. I had my name in it.
I thought you just wanted to be like Abby.
Oh, no, I made Abby's for the same reason. It's the Abby Joe. Yeah. So don't email Abby, though. She won't check it. That's she's that generation that doesn't check it.
I need her to start checking it, though, so if we can see we get some scholarships.
Yeah. So funny story, the other day I got to preach in church and in a church, and I was telling about how I'm Gen X, which is the last cool generation.
Very much.
But anything after us, we can't get them to check their email.
No. I work in an industry right now where we still use email to communicate very important information. And I'll have people call me weeks after and say, hey, what's going on? Well, have you checked your email? No. Okay, you might want to do that. There's important information in there.
It's just funny. Now, when email first came out, like when I went to college, 1995, I got an email address assigned to me when I went to Samford. It was the first email address I ever had. And I remember they kept telling us, we're going to send you an email, you're going to send an email. And I remember going, I'm not checking email. Who's going to do email? That's the dumbest thing ever.
It was DOS-based.
Oh, my gosh. And then they changed to, it was called Simeon, which is the name of the email server at Samford. They changed from the DOS-based to Simeon, and I rejected that. I used the old DOS-based as long as I could. I was mad when Windows 95 came out. I had just gotten used to Windows 3.1.
Yeah,
I was mad when Windows came out because
a vest for our wedding. You wanted to wear
I wanted to wear a cummerbund. That's the only thing I knew that you wore a tux about. I'm slow. I'm a slow adopter. If it weren't for you, let's be honest, I would have one pair of brown dress shoes and a pair of white tennis shoes. That if it weren't for you, that's.
I don't know. You've come a long way.
It's you because of you. Right.
I have not been able to break you of plaid, though.
I'm a plaid guy, as Dr. Zerby from the NIH calls it.
Oh my gosh, she
the lumberjack.
You preached at a
She was
lumberjack.
like, "Are you a lumberjack?" Because everybody at your church wears a plaid shirts, flannel. She called it flannel. It's like not all plaid is flannel, Dr. Z. You know.
That was so funny.
Yeah, and you've made me branch out, and I have some stripes and some solids.
It's crazy. I know. I'm even getting you to try the athletic fit dress pants.
Listen, I feel like I'm wearing my Peepaw's pants when I put them on, though. They're stretchy. I don't know. It feels weird.
I feel like coaching pants.
Well, but I'm not a coach.
Right now? No, you're not.
I'm not a coach. I have coached.
You have coached.
I enjoy coaching, but I'm no good at it.
Oh, no. You had some.
I will say the last time I coached a softball game, we won the championship.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, me and AJ walked off the field
with champions. The trophy.
And she hung her cleats up, and I hung my whistle up.
Yep.
We're done.
No, you don't use a whistle.
Well, I did. What do you say? What was I going to say as a coach?
Colloquialism. Your advisor.
I did never wear those nasty coaches' shoes that all the coaches wear. You know what I'm talking about? They look like orthopedic shoes.
Yes.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Anyway, all right. So 2026, we digress.
So we're going to try to stretch that a little bit more. We're both open to continuing speaking engagements. I'm going to attempt to crank up the writing and just in a blog format for now. I'm not going to promise you a book because I have no idea how chaotic.
Yeah.
I have a kid graduating from high school next year and starting college.
Excuses.
I know.
Of course, I haven't written a book either. But.
Yeah, I know. And we keep meeting people who have, and it makes me feel about this big because I'm like, oh, yeah,
well,
they have just as busy a schedule as me.
We can just get AI to write it for us now.
This is true. You'll see our story by ChatGPT.
Yeah. It'll be like ghost written by Claude.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had a horse named Clyde, and he was blind in one eye.
What? I don't know what that is. A horse named Clyde that was blind in one eye?
I literally had a horse. His name was Clyde, and he was blind.
That's not like some.
No.
That's not like some backwoods Alabama rhyme that your dad tells, like it was early in October.
No.
I had a little chicken that wouldn't lay an egg.
No. Clyde was real.
You had a horse named Clyde. There needs to be a whole rhyme, like nursery rhyme based around
I'll
that.
work on that.
I once had a horse named Clyde who only had one eye. He would swish his tail to shoo away the flies.
Oh, look at there. Hey, so as we're going to continue this, let's end it like we always do and talk about things that are remarkable. Now, I wanted to also talk about things in terms of people's stories that are remarkable and how you need to recognize some people have had an impact on your life and you never even know who they are. So you are also that person for other people. So when we think about the celebrities and the significant people who've passed away this year, there's been quite a few. So,
I mean, it's just October. There's still time for more people to die.
Why do you say that? So, so for instance, do you know the song, Jeremy? Brown sugar, babe, I get high on your love.
No, I only listen to Christian music.
Oh my God.
I honestly don't know.
So D'Angelo wrote that, and he is now gone on in.
Is D'Angelo the guy that did that music video where he was naked?
But you got to narrow that down. There's
I guess I do.
Speaking of something else that's dying this year.
Oh, what's that?
MTV.
Oh my gosh. Now this is something that's worth talking about. I mean, we are the MTV generation.
Yes.
Video killed the radio star.
And
I remember my parents wouldn't let me watch MTV.
Yeah, it's true.
Like George Michael videos were scandalous.
Of many, he's one of many that were.
But it got worse. Like that was scandalous.
Madonna set a cross on fire.
Yeah. Anyway, they've stopped playing music videos. I think if they kept playing music videos, it might still. But when they're just playing reality shows,
the station, it's not music television.
I know,
anymore.
No, it's not. And then they did VH1, Video Hits 1. That station's long gone away.
Fun fact: what was the best thing VH1 did?
Pop-up video.
Yes, pop-up videos.
Yes, pop-up video. So this is like trivia. For those of you that don't know, anybody that's younger than Gen
X,
X,
go find it on YouTube.
Like they would play the music video, and then they would pop up these little
random
bubbles
facts.
That were random facts about the band and about the song or the video.
Yeah,
I love pop-up video.
Yes, give me more.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Natural.
The Natural.
Robert Redford.
Yeah. The best part about The Natural for me was when we lived in Texas and we'd go to the Rangers games. Whenever anybody would hit a home run, they'd play that theme song from The Natural, and it would just give you chills down your spine, you know.
Okay.
Take Me Out of Winter, Bobby. That's Robert Redford.
Yeah.
He went on in.
I know. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, but I didn't realize how old he was.
84.
Okay. Not that. I mean, you can get a lot older than that. But I thought he was like 89, 90. My bad.
No, 84. But here's the oldest one I found. Sister Jean.
Sister Jean from Loyola?
Yes. She was 106.
She's 106. What I loved is they were wheeling her into those basketball games. And she was like the Catholic good luck charm for those.
Was their chaplain, the team chaplain.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think she gave devotions, or do you think she...
I'm sure she prayed over them.
Yeah.
Do you know Joan Bennett Kennedy?
No. Joan
Kennedy's
Bennett.
Wife.
Not John Benet.
No, not
Ramsey.
John Benet Ramsey. Joan Bennett. Or Bennett Kennedy.
Just Teddy's wife.
Like the mother of their children.
Yeah. She went on in.
She died.
Well, but Teddy went on in.
Has anyone talked about that? No. Did she probably raise those kids? Yes.
Yeah. Teddy was a
Let's not talk about
stellar
it.
of a individual.
Let's not talk about it.
Listen, he was loved by somebody.
Okay. You and I got to play the children of this icon at a recent murder mystery party.
Ozzy
is going on
Ozzy
in.
Osbourne went on in.
Yeah.
Crazy Train.
Your favorite actor.
Now, I will say I saw the list when Val Kilmer went in, you know.
I think you shed some real tears.
Well, when you watch Top Gun Maverick and he does his little cameo in Top Gun Maverick and he can't talk.
Oh.
And Tom Cruise is in, you know, Maverick's in there talking to Iceman, Admiral Iceman, like, just, you know, you can be my wingman anytime, you know.
I think my favorite that he did, though, was Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday was iconic. Yeah. I'm your Huckleberry.
Well, that was so good. All right, Theo
Huxtable. Yeah.
Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Yeah, and that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Because he was a young guy, relatively.
Oh, yeah,
speaking.
yeah.
I mean, we're middle-aged.
Well, it's not.
Right? I mean, maybe even on the upper end of middle age.
If we're going back to Sister Jean, we're not middle-aged.
We're not quite middle-aged yet in the Sister Jean world.
Apollo, James Lovell.
Yeah, I don't know. Apollo Creed?
Apollo 13.
Apollo 13. Oh, the Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks played him.
His name
Jim Lovell.
is Jim Lovell.
Yeah. No. I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
But let's be honest. This man is iconic. This man is a hero.
Yeah.
But no one knew who he was until Tom Hanks played him.
Oh, I think people did. I mean, I remember.
I didn't know Apollo 13 existed till the movie.
Okay. George Wendt.
Norm. My favorite is when Norm would come. By the way, no one younger than us knows Cheers.
They know him from
Toy Story.
Yeah.
So but because he was what character was he in Toy Story?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. You have
No. Norm was not in Toy Story. Cliff was in Toy Story. Cliff was Ham.
I thought Norm.
I don't think Norm was. No, we'll have to check IMDb.
Sorry, everybody.
But my favorite is when Norm would walk into Cheers, and everybody would yell Norm, and Woody or Coach would say, you know, what's going on, Norm, and he would have all these comebacks.
Yeah.
What are you up to, Norm? My average height, if I was, 7'4", or my average weight, if I was 7'4". How's it going, Norm? Well, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone shorts. That's just, I love it. Okay, Norm went on in.
Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall, the ape woman.
Yes.
She was remarkable. Erwin McManus, pastor out of California, tells a story about when he met Jane Goodall at a TED talk.
Yeah.
He said they were having a meal, and he was talking to this lady, and she introduced herself as Jane, and he said, I would say a story, and she would relate it back to apes. And everything she said, she related back to apes, and he said, Jane, what is your last name? And of course, everybody in the crowd is laughing because they know it's Jane Goodall. Of course, Gorillas in the Mist, right?
Yes. So Giorgio Armani.
Yeah, that didn't rock my world. I don't know who Giorgio. I mean, I know who he is. I know he's a designer of some sort.
Well, that's because we can't afford his products, but that's okay. Slide, as in Sly and the Family
Sly and the
Stone.
Family Stone? Yeah, I didn't know that Sly Stone went in.
Yep.
Sly, man, thank you for helping me be myself.
Thank you for helping me be myself.
Yep. Shout out to my boy Jeff Higgins, best man in our wedding, that introduced me to Sly and the Family Stone.
Pope Francis.
Pope Francis.
Yep.
But we got Leo now.
Listen, Leo. How about Bob Uecker?
Bob Uecker died in 2025?
He did.
Oh, man, he was hilarious.
I know, you do know
Actually played pro baseball, was asked one time, how do you catch, he was a catcher, asked one time, how do you catch a knuckleball? He said, you wait for the pitcher to throw it, and when it stops rolling, you go pick it up.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so let me ask you a name, and you have to guess who they are.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Clint Hill.
Clint Hill is...
I'm going to narrow it down. Musician, politician, athlete. Which one?
Oh, Clint Hill was a musician.
He was you've seen him. In fact, even our children have seen him because he's in a picture or a video that is shown every November 22nd.
The Zapruder film?
He is the Secret Service that jumped on the back of a car.
How about that?
Yep.
Okay.
So forever known for nothing, but yet he was there in our memories
when JFK was assassinated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how about, hey, Mr. Wilson?
You're talking about Dennis the Menace.
Yes.
You mentioned this earlier. So the original Dennis the Menace.
Jay North. He started when he was 5. He was 5.
Doing Dennis the Menace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amazing? What were you doing when you were 5?
Making mud pies.
Yeah. Running from snakes at Anderson Falls.
Kiss my grits.
Oh, Nell Carter? No, this was Flo from Mel's Diner.
She passed away.
The show was Alice.
Yeah.
But it was at Mel's Diner. Yeah. I remember being a little boy watching that.
Yes.
I don't remember much, but Flo used to say, kiss my grits.
So now I'm going to say people that you will know, but not everybody else knows.
Okay.
Founder of Focus on the Family.
Oh, so James Dobson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, this one's a good one.
Oh, wait, we've got sound effects. I should have said James Dobson. Yeah, I got that one right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson, one of the founding members of the Beach Boys.
That's right.
Yeah, we got it again.
There you go.
Lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. He had a nervous breakdown, and I'm pretty certain the Beatles' White Album cost it. Okay, go ahead.
Yikes.
They were like in a friendly competition with the Beatles.
Was it friendly?
Well, I think it was. Okay. I think it was just who could write better music, and you know, you forget how talented the Beach Boys were because of the style of music that they did. In my opinion, go ahead.
Well, we know we're going to obviously not go without saying Charlie Kirk. They're impactful people.
Uh-huh.
Roberta Flack.
She was a singer, right?
Correct,
what did she sing?
Yes.
Was she the original Killing Me Softly lady?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then you got Sam Rivers from Limp Bizkit. And
somebody mentioned that today. One of my students actually mentioned that. I asked if I listened to any Limp Bizkit and said the guitarist died, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that if it weren't for a junior in my class that knows that. That's kind of weird.
One of the guitarists for Kiss, Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley died?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I heard that on the radio this week, I think.
The mom from Father of the Bride.
Yeah, Diane Keaton. Yeah, Diane Keaton. And she was a lot older than I thought she was.
79.
But that's a lot older than I thought she was. Like, the problem is that I've gotten older, and I don't expect anyone else to have gotten older.
Lots of heartthrobs. Like, do you remember Loretta Swit?
No.
She was the female lead blonde bombshell in MASH.
Yeah, didn't watch much MASH.
Really?
No, I didn't like it.
Lonnie Anderson. She's going on in.
Yeah. Wasn't she Burt Reynolds' sweetheart?
She was Burt's girl. Yep. And then this one was my favorite when I was
your favorite person that died?
Grubby.
I have no idea. Who is Grubby?
Grubby is a possum that kept eluding captors in transit between Washington State and Alaska, and also had a litter of possum in the middle of all of this avoiding. But apparently, since we don't live on that side of the United States, it wasn't in our local news, but Grubby made news. Grubby.
That makes me, this is why the rest of the world hates us. We were just like, the people on the West Coast were like, we can't catch a possum.
It's like Poxatawney
and we named him. No, we caught Poxatawney Phil. Like, poor guy can't go anywhere.
Yeah, but Grubby has children to live on, so we're gonna.
Did they put Grubby down?
Grubby has gone on in.
Oh, that's right. You said he died. Okay, so is that how they found it? That she found. Well, I hope so. It is West Coast. You never know.
Oh dear.
She could have identified however she wanted to. Yeah. So I was telling a story the other day about the possum we had under our house in Tennessee. Tell the people what it sounded like. It was under our, we had an iron tub.
Yeah, our tub in our rental property in Union City it was cast iron. So you could hear, we'll call this one Grubby too. You could hear Grubby scratching the cast iron. It
sounded like there was a werewolf under our house.
And I like all hours of the day. It wasn't like just coming out at night because they're nocturnal. No. She was in there like moving around, trying to make her own little world. And I mean, it was terrifying. And you're like, I don't want to go under there, but you did set a trap and she came right into it.
So I borrowed a live trap from one of my buddies and put a open can of tuna in it.
Yuck.
I went out one morning and there was the possum.
You caught our cat first though.
I caught the cat the first time. And then I caught the possum, and the possum was unhappy.
Well,
And so I thought, this will be so cool. It was before school, so I go and I get the girls, and they were little. I mean, they were 6 years old and fourth grade, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Fourth grade and first grade. Mm-hmm. And so I bring Emma and Abby, hey, do you want to see the possum, And yeah, I want to see the possum, Dad. So we go outside, and I show them the possum in the trap, and they said, this is where Dad made a mistake. They said, Dad, what are you going to do with the possum?
Yeah.
And I just very nonchalantly went, well, I'm going to shoot it.
See, but you didn't learn from that mistake because then you had to bury a bird.
I had to bury a bird
later for a friend's daughter.
So I had to explain to the girls that the possum was a nuisance, that they're dangerous animals.
Guest.
Yeah, they're dangerous pests. The other story you were talking about was I was going over to our friend's house, the Bonder. You were over there you and I were going to get Emma. Emma was over there.
Yes.
And on the way in, there was a bird that had flown into a window and was dying, and he was on the sidewalk. Yes. And so we go inside, and I mentioned to Courtney, who later became our children's minister at the church, I said, Courtney, there's Dylan's not here. There's a bird out there that's dying. Would you like me to dispose of it? She said, yes, I would. So, and she had a little girl, Rylan, who was probably, 3 or 4?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, she was 4.
Yeah, at least, but yeah.
So they're in there, and Emma had been playing with Rylan, and everything was good. I go out, and I take care of the bird and dispose of the bird. and come back in. What now?
You disposed of it as most of us would in a local receptacle.
Yeah, I put it in the garbage can. I mean, it was. What was I going to do?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're in the city. It's not like I can throw it over the fence. And so I, into the neighbor's yard. So I go back in, and Rylan says, Mr. Jeremy, what did you do with the bird? And I said, well, Rylan, baby, I put it in the garbage can. And she wept. And
so
I
upset.
felt so bad. And so I said, sweetie, do you want me to go get it and take it to my house? And she said, yes, I do. I said, okay.
It wasn't just that. She wanted you to bury it.
She wanted me to bury it. And so I go, okay. So I go back out to the garbage can. I get this bird out of the garbage can. I put it in the back of my SUV. Oh, it was just like this little bitty. And I put it in the back of the SUV and drive home. And my thought is, honestly, I'm going to get home and I'm going to put it in the garbage at my house. And I get to the house, and Jodi, you said to me, Jeremy, where are you going to bury the bird? And I said, I'm just going to put it in the garbage can. And you said, you can't do that because she's going to ask you. And I was like, surely yes, she is going to ask you. And you're not going to lie to this little girl and tell her that you buried this bird when you're her pastor. And so I was like, good grief.
And she's going to want to see the little pile of dirt.
So I went out back in our flower garden and a flower bed and dug a hole and buried this bird and piled it up and took a picture of it with my phone and sent it to Courtney so she could show Rylan that I had buried this bird. And she was happy.
Yes.
She doesn't, I guarantee you, she doesn't remember that. She's a freshman in high school right now. She does not remember that story.
She may remember that noble thing you did.
So the truth is, when you have to put an animal down, it's best just to not talk about it with the kids. Anyway,
your animal will make a difference because it's part of your story. And I now want to wrap this up.
That's okay. We've wandered along this pathway for too long.
Oh my goodness. But all of that to say, all of those people had an amazing story. You have a story, even if it just ties back to an adventure you had with a neighbor, an experience you had with an animal
that you had to put down.
That is so impactful, and will also give you an opportunity to love on other people, because we're here to do this together. And the Powells are not that unique. We're not that different. We just tell our story and hope that you will join us and tell yours as well. Thank you for listening.
And that's all I have to say about that.
We're really unremarkable.
See y'all next time.